Howdy. Just here to update everyone on our drip system. I might have mentioned this to a few people when I was back in Michigan, but um, here it is. We needed to put a drip system in because here in Southern Oregon, at least up in the mountains where we live, water is very scarce. So in the middle of summer, we have one. We have one well that's pumping out a half a gallon an hour, and another one that puts out a maximum of anywhere from 5 to 7. I can't remember the number, an hour. So we have a holding tank, and the holding tank's been at uh, um, about a half to 3/4 full for a very long time now, for at least a month now. So basically here it is. This is the brains of the system. Now, this timer here, I believe you can pick this up for about $30. It takes a couple double A's from what I recall. You can do manual mode up there, which you can see on the white part, and then automatic mode. And I have this set to run every 3 hours for 5 minutes. And 5 minutes seems to be about a good time, a good amount of time for the water to run through the system. So I have this split off here because as I was putting the drip system in, it takes a while to put it in, especially when it's super hot out. So I had a sprinkler on one part of the garden that I didn't have the drip system set up on. So I highly recommend doing it this way if you're getting pressed for time, if you're already getting into the season where you need a water. Split it off and have a sprinkler on one side as you work on the other side. We've got a pressure regulator here, and this will bring down the pressure to 30 psi, I believe. I want to say they go down to 15, and people usually people usually bring it down to 20 to 25, but our system is at the max. We have 1,000 feet of the half-inch tubing, over 1,000 feet, and you're only supposed to do up to 1,000 feet per timer, apparently. I don't really know what the reason is other than the pressure would drop. So next here is, and by the way, this is called star thistle. Yellow star thistle in particular, and this stuff is a nasty invasive weed here in Southern Oregon, and actually my my legs are really itchy from walking through this stuff. This right here is a filter. It should be pointing the other way. You can take, you can, damn it. You can take it apart. I'm not going to touch that. You can take it apart, and there's a little filter in there, mesh filter, that you just empty out. It should be pointing down, but the problem with setting this stuff up is once you put everything in line, it gets kind of rigid, and it should be upside down, but it hits the ground. So I'd actually have to dig a hole or do some plumbing. And then this is where it actually connects into the system. This is a compression fitting right here, which was a pain in the ass to do. I had to heat up the tube with hot water, and after that, it was just extremely hard to put on. So if you put a system in, that's going to be, for me, that was definitely the hardest part, to get that compression fitting on and sealed up where it wasn't leaking. So, and a little bit about the connections. So as you can see over there, you can get these little T connections and everything for the main lines. And then I'll show you you can see right here, these are what they call spaghetti lines. They're smaller diameter. I'll show you what you put on those spaghetti lines. So you can buy these. They're quarter inch lines. You can buy these barb tees. Obviously, we didn't use many of those at all. These are to cap off. I wonder. Oh yeah, here you go. These are to cap off the half-inch tubing. I apologize, there are flies all over me. So you pretty much just cut the tubing and put these on, and I'll show you what they look like. What else do we have here? These are drip emitters. These put out 1 gallon an hour. And they're all color coded. These ones are black. We have some red ones that put out a half a gallon an hour. What else do we have here? A bunch of other things that I didn't use. What are these? Valves. So you can put these on those spaghetti lines and turn them on or off if you'd like. So, and then you also have sprayers. These ones are adjustable, and a lot of people don't recommend anything adjustable on these systems because you don't know how much water you're using. But a lot of people use these sprayers, and they're like miniature. I guess lost for words here. Sprayers. They're miniature sprayers. Sprinklers. That's what they are. So, and there are more sprinkler-like things that you can buy for these systems. Now I'll show you the tools and what we use here. So this is 100 feet of what we call the spaghetti lines. This was like, I want to say $4 or $5, and we've used 6 or 7 of these, I believe. Quite a few of them. These are not required, and actually I bought these almost when the whole system was done, but let me open this up. It'll just cut the lines, and what I like about it is it'll cut them straight, especially the half inch, the bigger lines. So I even use these on the spaghetti lines too. We have these barbed connectors, and if you ever do a system like this, buy a lot of these. These are what you're going to use the most of. And I'll show you how those work. Some stakes here where you put the spaghetti lines into, and you can kind of, keep them where you want them. I bought a bunch of these stakes too for the half-inch lines, and to be honest, I didn't use a lot of them. I didn't use very few of them. And then our other tools. These will make tiny holes in your half-inch line. This one, I don't care for that much. This is the only kind that they had at the time at the co-op, at the place that I went to. I like this one. This is what I was looking for, and I finally found it. This works a lot better, but I would recommend having one of each, because especially when the lines are hot, this will not go through all the way. So you kind of have to get this one and then poke the hole through the rest of the way. And we have various other connectors. Here's a valve. Obviously I cut this off because I screwed something up. Valve, corner connection here. You've got your T connectors, and these are like, I want to say $1 or $2 each. I think they're $1.50 or something. I don't know. These ones are 2 gallon an hour emitters, the green ones. These ones are half a gallon an hour emitters, and I guess different manufacturers have different codes. These are called, what do they call these? They're called like oopsie or something or other. These, you plug up the line if you make a mistake. And I try not to use these because if I made a mistake and I had to pull out that barbed connection, it's just going to leak. So I just cut those connections out. From what I found, that's the easiest way to do it. Scissors. So this is how I set up most of the system. I just cut all the lines with normal scissors. I mean, normal. These are heavy duty. I have these in here to pull out those barbed connections if I make a mistake. What else? I have this tape. It's like this rubbery tape that I bought at Harbor Freight. Because, like I said, the system will leak at some spots. Do not try to use that. I need to find some like actual waterproof tape. This actually melted, and the hole just opened up. Hole opened up in the tape itself and sprouted a leak, so it didn't really do much. And then I bought these things. I don't really know why. I guess I bought this so if I want to connect a normal hose to the system, I could. But like I said, it's 30 PSI, so how good is that? I don't know. So I haven't actually used any of those. So we'll go into the garden. Now, by the way, this is poly. This is a plastic deer netting. And we have this around our garden, which is a little less than an acre. And this has worked very well. This is 8 feet tall at the top here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's actually electric, what is that? I think it's aluminum electric wire that we put through here. We have literally miles of this stuff. This used to be a farm where they had a lot of animals, so we put that through the top to kind of keep it taut, and you could see how well that worked. But it keeps the deer out. As long as we keep the fence closed, the deer will not, we haven't seen any deer jump or attempt to jump it. But if you have a gaping hole open, which we have over there, it's not open currently, but even if you forget to latch it, they'll come in. So, but it's been doing very well. A lot of people I've read online, people say, oh, those don't work. No, these do work. Even when it's sloppy like this, the deer just won't come in here. So, teed this off. This is going 3 ways. One going up this way. And excuse all the cardboard. We're using that as mulch, and it does work very well as mulch until it gets windy. So we have cardboard all over the place. We're still going to use it. We're just going to put actual bark or wood chips over it. And then this line goes to the main garden, and it's split off here. And I put shutoffs in various places. There should be one there, but there isn't. I need to put more shutoffs in, but it's really easy. You literally you cut the line, and then these are compression fittings. You just kind of push them in, and yeah, it takes a little bit of strength, I guess, but you push them in and twist them, and they'll eventually get in, and haven't had any of these leak. So here are the spaghetti lines. So this is the barbed connection. So like I said, you poke a hole in, you put the barbed connection in, and then you put the spaghetti line into the barbed connection, and at the end you have the emitter. So like I said, half a gallon an hour for these red ones. And they work really well, actually. We have half gallon because we're on clay soil. And with clay soil, what you want to do is water often, but don't use a lot of water when you do it. So I have this system set up to run every 3 hours, and it waters for 5 minutes. And that's enough for the water to go through our whole system and kind of keep pressure for a little bit. And it's kind of interesting, and I'll show you. Kind of interesting because the lower elevation you go, you'll actually see water just continuously drip. Like I said, this only turns on every 3 hours, but as you can see, there are yellow jackets here, and there is actually water coming out of that. And like I said, I don't know when the last time this ran, but it runs once every 3 hours. And as you can see, everything is still kind of wet. It's been pretty hot out today. My watch is saying it got up to 85. I don't know how much I believe that. It feels like it's gotten up to 90 or higher than that. But we have one line that comes all the way out down here around the perimeter. So as I said, or I think I said, I don't remember. We're using over, and you can use them in pots too. So, one second, I'm hearing something weird out there. Hey, look, there's a jackrabbit. Sorry, distracted. Yeah, you can use them in pots. A lot of these work very well for pots actually too. But keeps on going. We're using over 1,000 feet of this 1/2-inch tubing. So you're only supposed to go up you're only supposed to go up to 1,000 feet per controller, from what I hear. I'm not exactly sure why. I get the whole pressure drop and everything, but ours is working out just fine. And yeah, maybe it's not optimal, but we probably have, if I were to guess, I think we're using about 1,200 or 1,300, probably more around 11 or 1,200 feet of this 1/2-inch tubing here. The spaghetti line's 600 or 700 feet, believe it or not. So the spaghetti lines, those were about $6 per 100 feet. And then this 1/2-inch, these big ones were, I want to say $40 for 1,000 feet. And I bought 2 rolls of those. So if you're living in the city on a normal sized lot, you could easily do this whole system for, I'd say, $150 or less. And it's super convenient. Things are thriving a lot more than they were before, because the problem is sometimes I get super busy with work and I just can't come out and water. And as you know, the more plants you have, the longer it takes to water. So, and you miss plants and everything. So the convenience factor alone is worth it. They're thriving because they're getting watered regularly. They're not getting over or underwatered. They're just getting watered at the same rate every day throughout the day. So things are doing a lot better than they were before. These trees I think we had these trees in here maybe 2 or 3 months before we put the drip system in, and that's about the time when it stopped raining, and they just weren't doing very well. We put the drip system in, and they're not, I wouldn't say they're thriving. I think they could use more water, but they're surviving at the very least. And here in Southern Oregon, they're going to get a lot of water in the wintertime. So I think they just need to take root a little more, and hopefully we'll get some fruit next year. We only got 1 apricot from this tree, and haven't got fruit from anything else here except this blueberry bush. This is a 10-year-old blueberry bush we got at an auction for $80, so that's pretty good. And for those of you watching in Michigan, I just have to mention, these trees cost anywhere from $15 to $30 per tree. Those of you who aren't familiar with the tree prices in Michigan for fruit trees, these would normally cost $60 to $70 per tree. That's not an exaggeration. So this, and same with a lot of our other plants here. All the other plants we got here are just a fraction of the price compared to Michigan. And I think it's because there's a shorter growing season in Michigan. And it's weird, here they don't like liquidate plants. They don't do like 90% off sales before wintertime, because a lot of these things will survive in the winter. Like anything leafy here will survive through the winter. Peppers and tomatoes, not so much. But yeah, everything here, all the plants are super cheap. I tried starting a bunch of seeds, like literally I tried starting like 200-300 seeds, and only got a few plants out of that, because I tried growing them in the natural soil, which is pretty much clay, and that just didn't work. So now I know for next year, I'm going to use sterile potting mix and do it that way, and possibly put the seed starters on. I might even try putting those on a drip system, just because I'm that lazy, but we'll see. But yeah, so this is it. This is our garden, and it's a mess right now, but you know what? It's so darn hot out. Believe me, you want to stay in the house. And with all this heat, ironically, it's probably 10-15 degrees cooler, because look at that. That's the sun. It's smoky. It's very smoky out here. There are a lot of fires, and I can normally see, my visibility is normally around 40 or 50 miles. and I think it's down to maybe a half mile right now. Like I can barely see. There are actually there's a huge mountain range that you just can't see right now at all. So it's kind of depressing. It's really hot. It's a lot drier than Michigan. So but we love it out here. It's just a few months of this smoke, and the rest of the year is just awesome. So and as you can see, we got some raised beds. I'm not quite sure what my wife is going to be doing with those, but we'll see. We might plant some actual seeds and put those on drip systems too. Even though I think it's late in the year, but the growing season here is longer, and I'm just not used to it yet. So at the very least, we can grow greens, and they should grow all winter long and actually probably thrive pretty well. So, so yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.